Good morning, Mr. Applegate. It's been we've been working steadily on your boat with one person, and now I've got a different person, a second person on it as well. I wanted to show you we got in your Cutwater, and all brand new Cutwater, all built and polished up, ready for your boat. They sent it to us, tacked together, and I made sure it fit. And then we sent it back, so that added a little time to the operation. But anyway, here it is. And then, good morning, Jason. That's okay. That's given me a chance to do a video for a customer here. So that was long overdue, getting him a video. So it does. It sure does. So coming back over to your boat, Mr. Applegate. So we have, you see the epoxy barrier coat up to the bootstrap line. And then here is the copper bronze bottom paint right here. And of course your Cutwater is going to go right here on the nose. So here's your copper bronze bottom paint. And all your seams that were open are now filled with a product called Slick Seam. The Slick Seam is a heavy wax. It's real similar to the wax in a toilet ring bowl. And what that is if people that caulk these seams get disappointed. I did that my first one about 35 years ago. I caulked them. And what we found out, I found out the hard way, and if I'd been talking to people, I would have found out the easy way. But what we found out is the caulk cures too hard, and when these planks expand, there's no room for them, and they buckle. I even had a boat in here where not only did they buckle, but they buckled so bad that it pulled the plank out. The plank just came out past the fastener. We had to extract the fastener, and it was a mess. So Slick Seam is the product. When your planks expand, a little Slick Seam will be pushed out of the seam and will slough off in the water as you pass through the water. And enough, just so whatever Slick Seam is necessary to maintain the seal stays in the seams, and the rest is sloughed off. And the Slick Seam maintenance will last several years. It's much less expensive. While you have to maybe update it every 3 or 4 years, you have to crawl into the boat or have your son crawl into the boat and Slick Seam it. Of course, you got to paint your bottom every few years anyway. So when that happens, it's much less expensive than $1,500 a foot times 20 foot to put a new bottom on, and you didn't need a new bottom. So the other thing that we're doing right now is you'll notice these deck planks were rotted right at the ends. So not every plank is rotted. In order to keep costs down, we're only replacing the planks that were rotted. But here's where we're going on these decks right here. We decided not to fasten down the old decks that had the problems in them, and we would just go ahead and remake these new decks. So or new pieces for the deck. These pieces are still good, and so we're going to use those, but these pieces need replaced. While we were working on the bottom, and I don't remember exactly what I've shown you and what I haven't shown you for updates, so I'm probably showing you some updates that you've already seen, and I apologize for that if that's the case. But of course, here's your new wiring, we treated the bottom with a borax treatment so that if there is any rot, that we arrest the rot. Borax kills fungus, and rot is a fungus. So we did that, and then we did a clear penetrating epoxy sealer treatment, and then we bilge painted it for protection. So that's why the inside of the bottom also looks so pretty. It was, we probably could have left it alone. Your dad had painted this, I believe, and it seemed to be some fairly new paint in there, but but we had an area over here of the inner layer that we had to dig out a little bit of rot, and we replaced that area with some epoxy as a filler, and let's see, we also had some frames that were broken, and they're on the other. Actually, there was one on this side as well, and so they were cracked, and we needed to replace them, which they're difficult to do from the inside, a little more time consuming from the inside, but it doesn't warrant taking the bottom off the boat, so we did it from the inside. Over here, we was far worse on this side. I think maybe something had been hit on this side. I'm not absolutely positive, but so here's an example of a frame that had cracked basically sideways, and so we fastened it back together. We pushed it together, fastened it together, glued it and screwed it together, and then we added an extra frame, sister frame beside it. And the other thing that we had found was, oh yeah, right here. So this frame, these frames, you have a frame without a gusset, frame with a gusset, frame without, frame with, and this frame did not have a gusset at all. Here's the original gusseted frame, and here's the next original gusseted frame. But there was a gap between the end of the frame and the chine. So anytime you've got a gap, the problem is that you have an area that it can flex, and the screw had pulled out and so forth, so where it was held together mechanically. So what we did is we wanted to arrest any movement. We didn't want it to flex. So we built a gusset and fastened in here, and then fastened it, we through bolted it. Sorry about my finger. We through bolted it through the frame, and we added a block on this other side, similar to the other blocks that are here for holding up this piece, which is what holds up your flooring. So we did that. Here's another, you can actually see the crack on the side of this one. It's all closed up. It just didn't close up as pretty as the other one. Actually, I think the other one, of course, yeah, that one, yeah, it just didn't close up quite as, this one didn't close up quite as pretty as the other one, but it's all glued together. And, oops, there we go. And so you can see the crack running. Let's see if I can get my finger down to the edge of the crack right there. So we put that back together. You know, put a prop between the frame up here and down there, and pushed it together, and then glued it, took it back apart. Once we determined that we could do that, took it back apart, glued it, put it back together down, and then fastened it with screws as well. And then we sister framed. This is a second frame. The frame on this side is a second frame, which is a sister frame. We did a sister frame on this rib on the other side as well. You see where you have two layers of frame. That's a sister. This one's another one on this side that we glued back together. You can see the screws from the top. Glued that one together and sister framed that one. So we did, once again, and we were in the bottom. I think we had that budgeted for a couple of, 2 or 3 days, and we spent another 2 or 3 days on the inside. Oh yeah, and the other thing we found was, while we were on the inside, was this engine stringer had rot in it. I actually have a piece at home. It got into the end of my burn barrels. I actually have a piece at home I'll show you, but anyway, it had rotted where the rotted in this area right here, and so anyway, and right there, there was rot right in this area on the original frame, but the sister is an original. It's to strengthen the stringer. But anyway, it was rotted. So we've got a new Douglas fir here, and you'll see we have what's called a scarf joint. It's bolted together, everything's screwed together and glued together. So again, we continue to do it right, and so sometimes that means that we have to spend a little extra. So anyway, I'll do how much extra off camera. It's not bad, I'll tell you that much. But the difference between doing it wrong and doing it right, there is some cost difference, but it's not bad, and we're already having to spend some, so let's do it right. All right, so anyhow, and of course, I think I've showed you your engine all done, exhaust elbow, all that stuff. I'm pretty sure I showed you that here a while back. And then, so anyhow, just wanted to give you an update, and I'll talk to you soon.